pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, roll, Atlantic.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Echo Delta nominal.
Flight down, lead off. Bring in, let's lead off. Off.
Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.
What is up, Rocket fans? Let me get a 5x5 in chat. Let me know you can hear me all right. You are looking at a Falcon 9 at Slick 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida, getting ready to launch the CSG-2 mission. And out in the field, we have Mr. Chris Gebhardt. Chris, are you there?
I am here. How you doing, Jack?
I am doing. Any day where there's a rocket launch is a good day. So thank you for rolling out and getting a camera up and rolling for us. Also out in the field today, we have Ms. Julia Bergeron. What's up, Julia?
Why, hello there, Jack. Well, a rocket launch is up, and I can tell you we have a beautiful day out on Cape. Chilly, but beautiful. Well worth the wait.
Well, what is your definition of chilly, Miss Florida person?
Chilly by Florida standards, I think we're like close to 50 right now, but the sun's going down, so
I'll allow it. I'll allow
Okay.
it. Cool. Well, thank you for being out there, Julia. I'm glad to hear the weather is better than the previous attempts. We also in the field have Stephen Marr operating a camera. I don't believe Stephen will be on comms, but thank you to Stephen for being out there. And of course, we also have Thomas Berghardt on comms. What's up, Thomas?
What's
Also in the
up,
field.
Jack? Yeah, I'm also out here on Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, and yeah, the weather is excellent today, not just for viewing pleasure, but also for the launch itself. More than 90% chance of acceptable weather, so looking forward to a very good view of tonight's launch, hopefully.
Fair enough. That's what I like to hear. After 2 previous scrubs due to weather for this launch, it would be excellent for them to get it done today and move on to what? Starlink tomorrow? Is that my understanding? Is that we have another launch in like 24 hours, Chris?
Yes, sir.
Or Thomas?
All right, I'm going to answer for Chris because I already started talking. Sorry, Chris. But yeah, just to the north of here at Pad 398, another Falcon 9 has gone vertical and will be ready to go tomorrow afternoon with the Starlink 4-7 mission.
Very cool. And of course, I am Jack Beyer with NASASpaceflight, your host today, the guy talking. I'm out here in LA. I'm not out there in Florida, but always like to join in on these streams when I can. So thank you, everybody, for joining us for today's launch. Don't forget, as always, we do an interactive thing here. If you want to ask questions, feel free to in chat. Just type at NASASpaceflight, ask your question, and it'll pop up in some nifty software that the final person I have to mention on this stream, Michael Baylor, wrote. Thank you for writing that software, Michael, and always operating these streams with diligence and your expertise. We appreciate it. There's Michael's information there. So that is the gang that we have today. And this is the rocket that we're looking at. Falcon 9, Slick 40, CSG-2. Who wants to talk about what CSG-2 is? It's an Earth observation satellite, right?
It is indeed. So it stands for COSMO-SkyMed Second Generation 2. So as the name implies, it's the second generation of the COSMO-SkyMed satellites, and it is the second of the second generation to launch. The first of the second generation launched on a Soyuz STA rocket from Kourou in French Guiana in December of 2019. This particular one was originally slated for a Vega E rocket, a Vega C rocket, a Vega consolidated rocket, which has not yet taken its first flight. So this one came over to the Falcon 9, and the third and fourth of the second generation CSGs are scheduled to launch on Vega C rockets in a couple of years. These are Earth observation satellites built by the Italian Space Agency in cooperation with the French military. They are ground observation satellites that are being placed into a sun-synchronous orbit so that they pass over the same point on Earth at 6 a.m. and 1800 UTC, local time, every single time they are passing over that particular location on Earth's surface. So in order to get there, that gives us a very specific launch time of 1811 local, 2311 UTC, which will enable the Falcon 9 to put the COSMO-SkyMed Second Generation 2 satellite into its proper orbit. They use synthetic aperture radars so they can see through all different types of weather patterns. So no matter what the weather is in the atmosphere, they will be able to see the ground, and they are primarily used both for military purposes for the French military, but also for civilian purposes and disaster monitoring and disaster response and preparedness. And in fact, the COSMO-SkyMed constellation was one of the constellations that was very instrumental in taking those very rapid pictures of the Hunga Tonga volcanic explosion in Tonga earlier this month, and aiding with some of those relief efforts. So really cool satellite on board this mission. It is small at only 2.2 metric tons, and that is what allows the Falcon 9 to perform its glorious return to launch site landing today.
That is the notable, or one of the notable and fun parts about today's launch, is that it's going to be a return to launch site launch, which means, of course, the Falcon 9 first stage booster will fire up its engines, null out its downrange velocity, and head back to the launch site for a landing. And it's so much cooler than a standard rocket launch, which is already cool, of course, where, a standard rocket launch, the rocket goes, it launches, it goes away, and it's kind of like, all right, it's over, it's done. In this case, about 8 minutes later, that first stage booster will come hurtling back to Earth and land at, it lands at Kennedy, technically, right? Is that where the landing pad is, or is the landing pad at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station?
Nope, landing pad is on the Space Force Station.
Okay, today I learned.
I believe it is the old Launch Complex 13. That site has been converted to what I've heard unofficially called Landing Complex 1, including landing zones 1 and 2. But I don't think I've ever seen Landing Complex 1 actually anywhere official, so I'm not sure that's the real name. But Landing Zone 1 is where the booster will be landing today.
Very cool. And of course, this is the first of 2 RTLSs that are planned for this week. One that you're looking at right now, and one will be from Vandenberg Space Force Station on the West Coast in the middle of the week, and that is after the Starlink launch that is scheduled from Slick 39A, which is tomorrow. So that's 3 Falcon 9 launches in like 4 or 5 days. So SpaceX is wasting no time getting ready and launching things this year. The absolutely insane cadence. It's going to be interesting to see how that shapes up after a couple more months and what numbers we're looking at the end of the year in terms of number of launches. Really quick.
Well, indeed.
Sean Douglas, thank you for becoming a PadRat member. We have a membership program here. You can support us directly, which we appreciate immensely because it literally allows us to do what we do. And at PadRat membership, Sean, you get some members preview videos, some photos up on the community page there from Mary and Nick and our shooters in the field. And you also get the fun one, the special members-only chat emoji, which I'm going to throw a quadruple Elon in chat for you there. So we hope you enjoyed those perks, and we really appreciate the support from you and all of our members. Thank you so much. Stackery Silk, thanks for the support. And Conservative Space Nerd, thank you for the support. Awesome. All right, so let's talk about rockets, because we're about 32 minutes away from launch, and we've got no shortage of questions from our viewers. So how about we jump right into it?
I like that.
Cool. Mike Smith, right off the bat, is saying, wasn't it 3 scrubs and not 2? Did I get that wrong?
Depends on what your definition of a scrub is. So they scrubbed on the 27th because the weather was just abysmal. You couldn't see the top of the rocket. They then, but that was before they started fueling. And then on the 28th, they started fueling, but they couldn't launch. So that was also a scrub. And if you technically count yesterday as well, they asked for the day and they ended up pushing another day. You could get to 3. Yes, it all comes down to how you look at it. I personally don't think if you start to make an attempt, you can't call it a scrub. So I wouldn't consider yesterday's a scrub versus a postponement, but 6 and 1, all the same thing.
Fair enough. I mean, I think I would say technically 3 is the number I would personally agree with, but that's just me. And just because technically correct is the best kind of correct.
Yes,
you knew I was going to go there.
I knew you were going there from the central bureaucracy. Yes.
Sure enough. Let's see. 3D Printed is asking, here's maybe one for Thomas. Why does SpaceX switch between landing on a pad and landing downrange on a drone ship?
Absolutely. So if SpaceX had their way, they would have many more boosters coming back to land at landing zone 1. It simplifies the recovery operation a lot easier. First of all, the booster is at Cape Canaveral as soon as it lands. And they can go out to the pad, safe it, and truck it on down to a hangar or one of the integration facilities, wherever they need to start getting it ready for their next mission right away. Whereas if you land downrange on one of the drone ships, you have to tow it to Port Canaveral first, and then drive it to Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, and that takes a few days. Also, when you're out in the ocean, you can experience rough seas or any other number of conditions that can either just delay recovery operations or actually impose damage on the booster. We saw booster 1069 after the CRS mission come back with some scratches, for lack of better words. So that booster had a bit of a rough recovery, which likely would not have occurred had it landed on a landing pad. However, they can't bring all of them back here, and as Chris alluded to earlier, today's mission can credit its return to launch site profile to the very light payload and the orbit it's going into. Basically, it equates to how much energy the rocket needs to place into that payload for it to get where it needs to go. Today's mission is putting a light payload, only 200-something kilograms, so it's not very heavy. Also, it's going to a low Earth orbit. It's a sun-synchronous orbit specifically, which is not quite as easy as a sort of mid-inclination orbit some of the other launches from Florida go to, but still a low-altitude orbit, and those two factors combined means it doesn't need that much energy to get where it's going. That means that the first stage can expend less of its own energy in the form of propellant, boosting the second stage and payload up, and use some of that extra energy to then come back, conduct a boost back burn, and land at landing zone 1. Also, there's a little bit of a benefit because this is going to sun-synchronous orbit that for the first maybe less than a minute of flight, this rocket flies towards landing zone 1. It's actually south of here, and the trajectory, it's not directly over LZ1, but it flies down the coast of Florida. And so the boost back burn on these polar corridor missions, which Jack hates that word, but I got to say at least once this stream.
Grumble.
Polar launch corridor mission actually is even more susceptible to return to launch site just because of where the landing zone happens to be. But otherwise, it is the nice light payload and the low orbit, which allows this mission to come back versus maybe a Starlink mission, which has a whole stack of satellites that's much heavier, or a mission going to geostationary orbit or some other higher altitude destination, which could require the booster to use more of its energy and thus has to land downrange and not do a boost back maneuver. So that's the difference.
Makes sense. Have we seen any shots of this payload inside the fairing? Like, is it one of those situations where it's a super small little payload inside a giant fairing, or is it less volume constrained than it is mass constrained?
I don't think I've seen any pictures of it. It's a relatively small spacecraft, so it might look a little bit silly, but off the top of my head, I don't remember seeing any pictures.
Very cool. All right, yeah, I like to throw my own personal questions in.
At least not in a fairing.
Job.
I think we've seen pictures of the satellites, but not in the Falcon fairing.
Got it. Okay. Very cool. Oh my gosh, Douglas Hubbard, thank you so much for the super generous support. There's no message here I can read on to riff about other than to say thank you for the support. It literally keeps the lights on. It keeps the data flowing from multiple cameras around the globe, which I can say because Chris went to French Guiana. It really, thank you so much for the support. And I see in the YouTube chat, you included a cool little sticker that says, "You are amazing." And it's like a cat. Just thank you. Seriously, thank you so much. We all love what we do, and we could not do it without support from viewers like you. Let's see. Zach is asking, was this a Falcon Heavy side booster?
Yes, it was. It flew the Arabsat 6A and the STP-2 missions in April and June of 2019, respectively, and then nothing since then. And for a while, it just sort of sat there. We were all sort of confused because it seemed like they needed new boosters and they weren't pulling the side cores to reconfigure them, but they finally did. So this is making its first flight as a Falcon 9. Its first two flights were as the side core for a Falcon Heavy. That also means this is the first booster to perform 3 land landings across all 3 of its flights, as the STP-2 and Arabsat 6A side cores landed at LZ1 and LZ2 as well. It has landed once at LZ1, once at LZ2, and it is targeting LZ3. LZ. Got ahead of myself there. Ooh, counting. Yes, Chris, it works well. And it will be aiming for LZ1 today.
I was going to say, if it's aiming for LZ3, I need to get in my car and start driving to Vandenberg right now.
Well, wait, hold on. I thought Vandy's LZ4. I don't know where LZ3 is.
The Atlas pad.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
Okay, so, wow, I'm dumb. Vandy is LZ4.
But
strike everything I just said.
Flick 3 at the Atlas pad at Vandy. We'll just say that's LZ3. Good enough.
Perfect. And I see Merito, one of our mods in chat, is correcting me. Thank you, Merito.
Are we going to go into the whole discussion of was there ever an LZ3? Like, was there supposed to be 3 pads here when Falcon Heavy was 3 RTLSs? Or did they just name LZ4 because it was also Slick 4? Like, what was the actual reason for LZ4 being LZ4?
It's exactly what you just said in a
very good
combination of both. There were 3 planned here. Originally, when they didn't build the 3, since they already had LZ4, they just named it 4.
I guess.
Makes sense.
So I'm still holding out hope that one day there will be a Falcon Heavy that returns 3 cores and it will be Z3 at Cape Canaveral, but it's probably not going to happen.
A triple core return, I mean, the side core dual return is insane as it is, but a triple core return would be, I don't know, I'd probably just lose my mind, which, you know, would be cool. Jim Cavett, thank you for the support. James Juries, also thank you for the support. They say, what crane do they use to recover the first stage at the landing zone? Also, why isn't there an LZ3? We just went through that. I'm not sure we know the specific type of crane that they use, nor does it have a fun nickname like Tankzilla.
I do not know.
I love how our audience has become a bunch of crane fans thanks to Bogachiga. I'm sorry, I do not know the cranes they use here.
Indeed, they have, and I appreciate it because I too have become more in tune with cranes and such things. I might have previously called a jib a boom or something like that, and it's like you get a little bit crane wise, should I say, when you start watching enough stuff from Starbase. But let's see, Mikey, thank you so much for the Capcom membership. That is awesome of you. Again, that membership program is absolutely key to helping us do what we do. We could not do what we do without it. Thank you so much to all of our members, and we really hope you enjoy the various perks that we provide for y'all. At Capcom membership and above, you get Discord access. So when that propagates, pop into Discord, be very curious as to why we all have changed our names to variations of James Spader, and say hey, and I will wave to you at my customary Forrest Gump GIF. But thank you so much, Mikey. Enjoy the Discord access, enjoy the members perks, the emojis and the preview videos and all that good stuff, and potentially some new perks coming down the pipe. Let's see. And also, wow, Josh, thank you for becoming a launch director. That is one of the higher levels of support. Again, you get all the perks I just mentioned. You get the Capcom, you get the Discord access and all that other good stuff. So thank you so much, Josh. Thank you to all of our members. I won't talk y'all's ears off about it too much, but I just really want to show appreciation to folks that sign up to support us directly like that. It is absolutely amazing, and we could not do what we do without it. Let's see. We touched on this a little bit earlier. As we wait for that 20-minute vent, which is about 3 minutes away at this point, how's the weather looking? Julia, how's the weather looking out there today? You said it was good earlier.
And I still stand by it's good. I really don't feel any sort of a breeze. The sun is getting so low on the horizon, and you know what? We don't have white caps on the water, so that's always a positive.
And you can see the rocket today.
Yay!
Yeah.
Always good when you can see the rocket on launch day.
Yes.
Something.
Says the guy from Vandy.
11. Yeah, well, I don't want to talk about it. Let's see. James Atkinson is saying, any sightings of site security, that's what we like to call it, wildlife that is out there. I know Steven's not on comms, but Chris, you see any gators or anything you might need to be poised to run from?
No gators. It's too cold for them. There was an unimpressed pelican floating in the lagoon a bit ago, but it's gone.
I'm going to ping Mark about an unimpressed pelican shirt idea.
Yes.
I don't know why that tickles me, but it does. Here's one for Thomas or Chris. Y'all can brawl over it. Joshua is asking, what happens to the second stage after the payload departs? It deorbits itself, right?
I believe, yeah, this mission should include a deorbit burn, especially considering they are doing the return to launch site landing profile. That almost certainly means they have the performance needed for a deorbit burn with the second stage. There are rare exceptions where the second stages cannot be deorbited after missions, especially to really high orbits going to geostationary or somewhere else. But for these low Earth orbit missions, these upper stages will perform a deorbit burn. And that should be confirmed if there was hazard zones published for somewhere on the other half of the world for a reentry. Off the top of my head, I don't remember seeing them, but I'm almost certain that they're out there. So there should be a deorbit mission.
And the answer to the question earlier about what type of a crane is it that lifts the Falcon 9s when they land on land here, it is a 999 or a 999.
Ooh, 999.
So there you go.
Very cool. I'm resisting the urge to do a Ferris Bueller reference, and I will move on and say thank you, Mark, for the support. Wait, Mark, thank you for the support.
Wait, like the Mark?
Mark, it says Mark Garrett's.
Yo, what's up, Mark?
Hi, Mark.
Hopefully I'm able to get down to Florida this year for a launch, he says, which that would be awesome.
That would be cool.
There is our T-minus 20-minute vent. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Such a little baby puff.
It's interesting how it looks like it is. It's taking a second for that vapor to condense after it is vented out of the vehicle. It's like instead of coming out of the exact side of the vehicle, it looks like it's appearing in midair, which is a kind of a cool effect.
If at the risk of sounding silly here, that should be because it's colder out, and thus it's not like or am I doing thermodynamics wrong? Someone check me. Colder weather should result in less visible condensation. Yes,
should.
That makes sense to me. Yes, but you're the smart one, so.
I might have just said something completely ridiculous.
It's like a whole bunch of combining factors.
I mean,
like
there's like a million
point,
factors.
Temperature and all that. Yeah. Which
So
is why we always say no two launch looks the same.
That's true.
Yeah.
So this T-minus 20-minute vent is a nominal sign that the fueling process for Falcon 9 is proceeding as expected. It's all about purging the lines on the strongback, right? Who wants to go into that, Chris?
Yeah, exactly what you just said. It's about purging the propellant lines inside the transporter erector, the TE. So the Falcon 9 second stage receives its RP1 kerosene load first, beginning at T-minus 35 minutes down to the T-minus 22.5 minute mark. Then they purge the erector like you're seeing now with gaseous nitrogen just to flush everything out, make sure everything is inert. And then at T-minus 16 minutes to liftoff is when the liquid oxygen load to the second stage will begin. So that's why we see this little vent here. The second stage, meanwhile, is being fueled simultaneously with RP1 kerosene and liquid oxygen. And then we'll get another vent like this around 2.5 to 2 minutes prior to liftoff, which is the final purging of the ground support equipment prior to liftoff.
Very cool. We sort of touched on this earlier in that this is a converted Falcon Heavy side booster that last flew in 2019. Starship is asking, is this the longest time between two flights of a booster?
The longest flight between... It might be.
I think it is. I believe it is.
Very well might be, yeah.
Very cool.
And probably by a pretty significant margin.
Yeah, it's quite odd that it sort of sat around as a Falcon Heavy side booster in purgatory for a while and before being converted. And speaking of which, Jonah is asking, can we dive into the refurbishment of this booster? Can you suggest any difficulties in converting a Falcon Heavy side core to a Falcon 9 core, and if some parts had to be replaced? Well, SpaceX had been saying for a long time that was something that they could do, right? This is just the first time sort of that we've seen it actually happen.
Yeah, we haven't seen it happen before, and obviously there are lots of this refurbishment process that's going to be pretty hush-hush, and only SpaceX will know. The obvious things are you have to remove the nose cone and replace it with an interstage. And that involves, I believe that probably involves slightly reconfiguring the grid fin attachments and things like that, other things near the top of the booster. Also, you would need to reconfigure the connection points because these side boosters connect to the Falcon Heavy center core differently than, a single stick Falcon 9 handles its load. So there's probably work involving those connection points that has to be conducted. But other than that, obviously the tank structures don't change, the engines don't change. You obviously. But as far as hardware goes, the main things are just near the top of the stage, that interstage and connection points.
Very cool. Yeah, and so basically, if viewers don't know, the Falcon Heavy side boosters are interchangeable, and the center core of a Falcon Heavy, that's a whole different beast. That you would not really use as a single stick launcher. It's got additional strengthening and other hardware that they don't convert the Falcon Heavy center cores, but the side boosters, that is a thing that they can do, as evidenced by today's launch. And of course, in our back channel, we've got Mr. Data, which is what I'm going to call Adrian now.
I was going to say,
He says this is the longest turnaround on a booster by a significant margin. Previous record was 1046 with 412 days. This is 950 days. So thank you, Adrian, for that little tidbit there.
And another tidbit that Adrian gave us, because I know it might come up here in a little bit, if they launch today at 6:11, the 6:11 p.m. here, the next next Falcon mission is tomorrow, out of 39A, and that mission off of 39A would come 20 hours and 6 minutes after this one, which is not the record. The record between Falcon 9s is 15 hours and 17 minutes set last month between Starlink Group 44 and Turksat 5B. So we'll not break a record with the back-to-back launches tomorrow.
Very cool. But I think we will be breaking a record in terms of the fastest time they've done 3 launches in a row. One from Vandy, Slick 40, and one from 39A, sort of all in, like a 5-day span?
Indeed, and in addition to that too, if the Starlink can launch tomorrow, it would mark the first time they have done 5 launches in a single month, all from Florida.
Wow, very cool. Matt Bennett, thank you for the support. Jerwad, another one of those names that pops up all the time, thank you for the support. Mikey, thank you as well. Moldy Space says Thomas Fan Club, thank you for the support, Moldy Space, and for always popping up also. Dean Harbold says, unimpressed Pelican. Thank you, Dean, for the support and the fun hashtag. Let's see. Musical Wolves. Go for it.
Yeah, I forgot one thing, too. I mentioned Adrian. I forgot to also thank Alex as well. It was Adrian and Alex who put all that fact-checking stuff together for us for this.
Nice. Thank you, both of y'all. The A-Team, as I'm going to call them. Oh, God, now I hate myself.
Oh, God.
Musical Wolves, thank you for the support. They say, will the 5th tower launch something today? 3rd time is hopefully a charm. That is a 4 towers joke. Those 4 towers are lightning towers. The 5th tower, of course, being Falcon 9 rocket.
You know what? I think
up?
this is the longest we've gotten into a webcast where we weren't asked that question.
Oh, we were asked it. It's intentional that I did not answer.
Okay. I don't know if Chris can show. Do you guys all see what I'm seeing, which is this lovely purple pink sky going on with calm waters? You know how exciting that is on a launch day?
The sun is about 1/3 below the horizon right now. It is sunset here at the Cape, and yeah, we are getting the gorgeous pink and orange sunset in and around the Falcon 9 here.
Look at that. We had a cruise ship departing at the exact opportune time. This is a view from Fleet Cam. It's our 24/7 live streaming cam out there in Port Canaveral. So if you've got a lack of content,
there it is. Yeah.
Later on, go check out Fleet Cam because you get cool views like that. And speaking of cool views,
that cruise ship is going to get a good view too.
Oh yeah. Speaking of cool views, looks like the SpaceX feed is coming through. Look at the lighting on that vapor from the Falcon 9 booster. That is just gorgeous. So back to the 4 towers, because I know everybody loves the 4 towers, he says sarcastically. Where was it? Here we go. Andromeda is asking, what is that box-shaped thing under the lightning towers?
Aha, that is the back of the horizontal integration facility, also known as just a hangar. That is where Falcon 9 stages are kept when they're being prepared for launch, and also they can store cores there if they need to. But that is where Falcon 9, with its 2 stages and the payload fairing containing the satellite, all got integrated onto the transporter erector, which then rolled the whole vehicle out to the pad from that hangar and was raised vertical at the launch pad. That's why from our view, we're actually seeing the back of the transporter erector, and right at the top you can see the nose cone, the fairing of the rocket sticking out above the transporter. But it kind of rolled out horizontally and then raised the rocket vertical facing away from us once it reached the actual launch pad. So that's the HIF, the hangar.
Thank you for that, Thomas. Farrah Dawn, thank you for the support. They say always great coverage, guys. Doing the Space Coast proud. Oh, that's real sweet of you. Let's see. Mike Hatfield asking when the Starlink launch is going to happen. That was going to be today. Well, it's going to be tomorrow now. And Chris, what time did you say that Starlink launch was tomorrow?
2:17. Yeah, 2:17 p.m. local, which would be 19:17 UTC.
I am extremely impressed that you can do the UTC conversion in your head, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised. UTC at this point to me is still just Martian speak. I can't figure it out for the life of me. I know it's -8 for where I hate it. I don't understand it.
The fun is when it changes.
Oh yeah, whee! Let's see, Doug Bradley, thank you for the Pad Rat membership. Again, thank you to all of our members. Al Ark, thank you for thanking us and for the support. They're watching from Boynton Beach tonight. And James Jury's asking about a Roberts Road camera. That might be a little bit tricky, but thank you for the support. You know, we're always looking at new places to put cameras. Let's see.
Roberts Road would be problematic, but...
Let's see here. Really quick, Alaska L is saying, can you wish my dad a speedy recovery? He broke his shoulder this morning while snowboarding and would enjoy the get well soon wish. Well, get well soon, Alaska L's dad. We hope you have a speedy recovery.
Indeed.
And okay, so here we go. Here's one. Jelly Verbellion. I'm probably butchering that. I apologize. Does SpaceX still static fire without the payload on top of Falcon 9? How did they static fire this? Was the payload on it or not?
This static fire was conducted without the payload on board, as is relatively standard procedure, at least for the external customer payloads. We've seen them do a lot of static fires with payloads already integrated when they were launching just Starlink missions, because those are internal payloads. Should, in the unlikely event that anything goes wrong during a static fire, they would only be damaging their own hardware. But when there are external customers on board, they are still conducting the static fires without a payload firing on board. Also, of course, the static fire for this particular booster was a little more important than some of the others, considering it had been sitting in a hangar for 2 years. So they made sure to do the static fire for this mission, and because some missions don't even get static fires anymore, but this one did, and they did so before integrating the payload on top.
Very cool. Makes sense. Let's see. Here's a quick one I can answer. Fred Denti asks, love the sonic boom from Falcon 9, but will Super Heavy have them? Yes. Absolutely it will.
So, someone asked if we had seen security a little bit earlier. There's a security going by just barely underneath the water, but you can see the V that it's forming as the gator moves under the water, which is really cool.
Did you just hear like bottom? I mean, I know that's Jaws, not gators, but
yeah,
nice. Just be ready to zigzag. Of course, we are getting a lot of questions about a potential for a jellyfish effect, which we talk about every time because it's a very cool thing and something worth noting. But jellyfish is more of a morning thing on the East Coast, right, Chris?
Yeah, it can happen here in the evenings, as we saw with Inspiration 4, but it's a very constrained time frame in the evening here because usually the rocket has to be between you and the light source in order to get that jellyfish effect. So sometimes you can get it. Sometimes the full moon can do it if the time is right. But I'm not going to make a prediction as to what this is going to look like because we've never had an RTLS this time of night in Florida before where the sky has been completely clear. So I don't know what the plume interaction is going to look like exactly because it's going to be dark on the ground. The sun has set on the ground, but it's going to be in daylight up there when it does all of that. So we're not really sure what we're going to see tonight. Just it's clear we're going to see some.
We have folks in the back channel here saying it's going to do a jellyfish. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. It'll be part of the fun with this launch. And again, not only is this a potential for a jellyfish here, which is of course what we call that exhaust plume illuminated by a light source while the observers are on the ground in shadow, but this has the added bonus of being a potential RTLS jellyfish, which would be amazing because not only do you get that plume interaction with the light, you get the dual plume interaction of the booster itself and the second stage plumes sort of interacting with each other, and then the control thrusters coming off the booster. If you haven't seen an RTLS jellyfish effect launch or video of one, after this, go watch that, or just stay tuned for about just under 7 more minutes, and we might get similar effects tonight. That is why we have Chris out there in the field, Steven out there in the field operating cameras so that we can have the best chance at showing y'all any cool stuff that may happen. Speaking of cool stuff, we have a new t-shirt in the store in commemoration of 2 rapid-fire RTLS launches. And it is, of course, an RTLS shirt. And I think we have 2 RTLS shirts, as a matter of fact. Both of them designed by our very own Pauline Acclaim. Oh, gosh. Am I butchering Pauline's last name? Either way, Acklin. Oh, my God. I hate myself now. Well, even more than I normally do. You get it. Thank you so much, Pauline, for putting these together. They're absolutely great. So, again, thank you to our members for supporting what we do. Thank you to everyone that does Super Chats. And if you want something physical for the support that you give us. You can hop on over to the merch store. You can buy one of these RTLS shirts. You can show your nerd pride and have people ask you, is that a rocket thing? And you can explain to them how cool RTLS is, or are. Oh, gosh. And yeah, so that exists. RTLS shirt. Check it out if you are so inclined. We're going to get an RTLS today, with any luck, and we'll get one around Wednesday with, again, some luck, given a launch from Vandy. So if you like RTLS launches, we've got shirts just for you. All right, coming up on 5 minutes to launch. Whew.
Oh, so we're in the business end. This is good.
I'm getting excited. Yeah. Who's getting excited?
Oh, me.
Me.
I've also got to track it, so I'm also getting nervous. Like,
of course, yeah. That I'm sure the adrenaline is pumping through your veins. I'm sitting here in a computer in my home. I have nothing to worry about, but all the pressure on Chris and Steven. I'm sure you guys will do great. Let's see. Here is one for Julia, perhaps. They're asking, Fly for Fun is asking, was the range violation the cruise ship that we just saw? Was that a range violation, or you think that was nominally planned?
No, so no range violation there with the cruise ship. The exclusion zone starts just past the mouth of the inlet, so ships can still come in and out of port. They just can't go like straight out due east when rockets are going south, but they can get out of port and then turn south. Or they're just held at the port channel by the Coast Guard. So Coast Guard knows what's up, so that cruise ship that we... Oh, there is a cruise ship violation. Oh, that's what you were telling me, Jack. I thought you were asking about the one we just saw go out.
I think that might be it. I'm unclear as to what is currently going on. It sounds like the range is red.
I misunderstood what you were telling me, Jack, there. So my apologies there.
Sounds like we have a wayward ship.
Yeah, the other factor is this is a polar launch corridor launch, which means the exclusion zones are different and go to the south from here as well. We can see the cruise ship from here, by the way. I can't tell where the mouth of the port is from here, so we don't know if it's actually out of port or if they can hold it at the mouth right.
Yeah, and
but they say the range is...
Yeah, so it's I see what you're talking about. It's farther out. It's not the one that's leaving Port Canaveral. That's the problem. But apparently the Coast Guard is in contact, so we will see.
All right, just about 3 minutes from launch, so maybe they can just send it?
Let me really quick say it, because I don't know if it'll pan out today, but sometimes if you have contact with the ship, you can still permit a liftoff if the rocket is not going close enough to it, even if there's a technical range violation because the ship is moving out of the area and they're in contact with it. That happens quite regularly, but obviously if it's too close to the flight path and it's red, we're not going anywhere today. But just throwing that out there. I am going to hop off comms for just a minute in case I do have to track this so that I can get ready.
Cool.
But,
do your thing.
But I'll leave you with Thomas and you, Jack, for the commentary, as well as Julia.
Very cool. And you can see here on screen
there it is.
from our very own Gavin Cornwall there, you can see the suspected violator.
Yeah, so it is not the ship that was just about to leave port, because they are still sitting. Looks like they're actually sitting at the mouth of port waiting for to be cleared to go. But a different ship that is already outside of Port Canaveral is in contact with the Coast Guard to make sure they clear the range.
So my immediate question, Thomas, is this is supposed to be an instantaneous launch window, right? There's not an...
There is a very small launch window, but we have already started fueling, so at this point it has become instantaneous.
Right, because using the subcooled propellants that Falcon 9 does, it sort of starts, things are kind of baked in, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But you don't have a lot of room to move the T0 once you have actually started fueling Falcon 9.
There we go, and there's that final purge of the lines. So it looks like we are progressing. At the very least, we're going to get down to T0, but hopefully we get a launch. All right.
We're keeping an eye on the Falcon now. Coming up on a minute to launch here. Those vents, again, are nominal. There are vents near the very end of this countdown when fueling completes, so that is not a sign of anything per se. So we're going to stay tuned here. there is, as long as they are in contact with that ship, they are able to launch if they know it will not be a factor. So we're in the final seconds here, though. So, Jack, I'll leave commentary to you. Let's see.
Sure enough, and I will be sure to be quiet so that we can hear the cool sounds of the Falcon 9's engine. Should this thing lift off, about somewhere around 40 seconds to go. Getting very close here. And once again, thank you to all of our members for supporting what we do. Hold, hold, hold. We are in a hold, officially. And I think you can hear some... It's for the range, the same issue we were just talking about. And I think I heard some rocket photographers groaning in the background there. So we are holding, which is different than a scrub, which is a good thing, question mark. But it sounds like it will be a scrub. So maybe I should just shut my mouth and curse the rocket gods. This one is proving to be a tricky one.
Yeah, this mission having a slew of different issues trying to get off the ground, none of which are its fault. 2 weather scrubs, and now today a cruise ship who irresponsibly did not keep in the know with the hazard zones for today's launch. Looks like was not able to clear the range in time, and a hold called in the final seconds. Today's launch will have to be delayed to no earlier than tomorrow. We'll have to stay tuned for how SpaceX manages its Eastern range schedule, because there is that Starlink mission, but more likely than not, this mission will take precedent tomorrow, and Starlink will slip an extra day because this is a customer mission. But again, we'll wait for SpaceX to confirm that. But it is going to be a scrub for today due to the short launch window, not enough time to recycle at this point.
Darn it. Well, you answered my immediate question is, how does this affect Starlink tomorrow? And it sounds like they might just push Starlink a day, and then we'll get 3 launches in 3 days, which will be quite a hoot. But that, of course, pending no more Wayward ships or other weather issues.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe a full-on cruise ship is what caused the like. You think the captain of that ship was just kind of like, yeah, I know all about rocket launches. I know how it works. Except this is a polar corridor launch, and it's a little bit different.
And Scrub confirmed for today, as Thomas was saying, that not enough time to recycle for the Falcon 9. But yeah, Jack, there's going to be a lot that cruise company is going to have to answer for. And probably some monetary... I mean, there's going to be some pretty significant monetary penalties for that, too. So, once again, someone unfamiliar with the exclusion zones and a cruise ship in the range. So... I will throw it back to you in the studio, Jack. I'm not sure what else we want to do, but we're going to have to pack up here pretty quickly with the scrub ourselves.
Cool. Sure enough, I think with that, we will wrap it up. It sounds... Oh, look at that. Stephen has a view of the violating ship. Look at that. Thank you for that, Stephen.
Does he really? Nice.
Yeah. So we will let you pack up, Chris. Thank you so much for rolling out in the field multiple times now for this launch. But that voice you were just hearing was the voice of Chris Gebhardt, and he was out there in the field. He's the managing editor of NASASpaceflight. Thank you, Chris, again. Also out in the field, you heard the voice of Julia Bergeron. Julia, thank you for, again, rolling out for this one.
Well, it was my pleasure, and I can't believe what happened just happened. So, yeah. We'll see you tomorrow.
First time for everything, I suppose. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And of course, out there with providing this exact view right now is Stephen Marr. Stephen is not on comms, but we appreciate him rolling out and getting a stream set up for us so we can see things like this. And so thank you, Stephen. You can see his info there and everybody's info popping up as I mention their name, of course. And we also heard the voice of Thomas Berghardt. Thomas. Next time's a charm, right?
Next time is a charm. SpaceX does confirm that they will target tomorrow, same time, 6:11 p.m. Eastern time for this mission. Starlink will end up getting pushed to no earlier than Tuesday, probably. Yeah, and also confirms a ship in the hazard area causing today's scrub. So hopefully we will see you all back here on the NASA Spaceflight channel tomorrow for another launch attempt.
Sure enough. And, of course, I am Jack Beyer, your host for today. Content manager, whatever you want to call me, video editor, photographer, live stream commentator, guy with way no time on his hands. But thank you for listening to me flap my gums. You can see my info there. And, of course, in the oh, my God, my brain. Also in the studio, we had Michael Baylor, who is running things in the background. And thank you to Michael for always being on point. And that is that. I think with that, we will throw y'all to perhaps Starbase Live or maybe Fleet Cam. Either way, we've got two 24/7 streams you can check out. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and we will see you on the next attempt, hopefully tomorrow.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
RCP chamber pressure looks good. Throttling up.
Roger, roll, Atlantic.
Water towers, fly!
Tango Delta nominal.
Flight outside speed off. Bring in SCE off.
Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.